I loved your film.
Oh,
I had to
thank
watch
you.
it twice just to make sure, I picked up on everything, even though I don't think I may have picked up on everything.
Oh, thank you.
But it was very heavy on surrealist and kind of Kafkaesque elements. And there were even Philip
Philip K. Dick, of
Dick
course,
and
yeah.
MC Escher references in there. So what drew you to these elements?
Why do I put these elements?
Yeah, like what attracted you to these elements?
Well, I love Escher and the way he depicts these infinite spaces, and I really wanted to do something that visually could explain that on a film with a story on like if you would see an Escher picture and you would want to know
What's going on
maybe
there?
yeah, maybe it's a great picture just as a picture, but if you would want to put a story in that picture, maybe that's the incident, like try to put a story into a picture. So on one end is that, and then on another end is I had many influences to help me build this film. I'm a huge fan of science fiction from the 50s, and I'm a really fan of Philip K. Dick books and
Yep.
other classic sci-fi stories, and also like the Twilight Zone and literature from the 50s and 60s. So that was what I wanted to put that Philip K. Dick book, because I like how in some like for example Lost, I'm a huge fan of Lost, and I like how they make a lot of references to book. There are many episodes from Lost where you see that there's a book there,
Yeah,
like
it's a
they're
specific
really-
book, and it means
like it means something, yeah, and even the episodes from Lost, you could tell that they have some episodes from Lost are titled like a book, like
Like
A
the
Tale
title,
of Two Cities, The Shape of Things to Come, Catch 22. So I wanted to do a reference to a book, right? But then I thought it needs to be a book that is not really known. It's not like a Don Quixote or a Shakespeare, just like a book that people will be like, what is this book? Why is
like
it here?
time out of joint.
Like the
That's
amount
the
of
one you
joint, yeah.
chose. Yeah.
Because then you know when people make you this question of you would stay on an island forever with one book, one soundtrack, which would be now I can make a movie about that because these people actually stay with only one book, right? So I chose Time Out of Joint from Philip K. Dick, and also because I think it relates to the whole theme of the incident, because it's Philip K. Dick is an author who wrote a lot about different realities, about character living in one reality when he's actually in another reality. And I think of all his novels, Time Out of Joint is the one that deals with that subject more than all of the other ones. And the incident is also about that, so that's why I decided that book to be the reference.
So would you consider him one of your inspirations?
Yes, he was a big inspiration, Philip K. Dick. Other inspirations were like literature from the 50s, sci-fi from the 50s, like Twilight Zone, like The Outer Limits, other TV series like Lost, which I'm a huge fan of, Lost. And I would say movies like Inception, which I'm a big fan of Nolan, and the way
Yeah.
he deals with alternate realities, time.
And I thought you handled it very well. Like,
Oh, thank
I
you.
thought Nolan-esque when I was watching the film.
Oh, really? Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad.
Just like you
That's a
tied
good
everything in
compliment.
together at the end.
Yeah, like in the end, it all adds up to with the boyfriend and the bride and also like Inception, Cloud Atlas is also a movie that was a big reference for me, yeah, I'd say it's Cloud Atlas, Inception, Holy Motors. Those were some of my main references.
So are incidents supposed to be something that occur naturally, or or is it something more otherworldly, like celestial or even extraterrestrial?
Well, you see, that's a good question because the film explains a lot, but also leaves a lot open to imagination, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the right film to do, like a film where people understand, okay, this is what happened, these are the rules, but it also leaves me some stuff to interpretation, you
Just
know?
open possibilities.
And in that question, I like to leave it to imagination. I
Okay.
think if you are a very religious person, you can attribute it to God. You can say, oh, this is a religious thing, this is God doing this. If you are like a sci-fi person, you can attribute it to robots. You can say like, oh, this is like machines controlling the world. Or you can think it's aliens controlling the world. Whoever is controlling puts these rules, you don't know who he is. However, on my second feature film, which is called The Similars, which is currently in post-production,
Okay.
there's an Easter egg that gives you a hint of who is doing the incidents.
Oh, so you kind of
I like to do this Stephen King idea of meta, like
yeah. So
relating things.
so in the next film, people are gonna have to see it just to see
Who did
who,
the incidents?
and then we'll
Yeah.
see if they guessed right.
Yeah, exactly.
So why does someone die after each incident, or is the potentiality of their death the catalyst for the incident?
Yeah, exactly. The death is the catalyst for the incident, because the incident itself is something that makes a rupture in that universe that creates this alternate world. And you understood in the end that this alternate world is where people move physically and emotionally to create the energy of the real world, right? So the physical movement is because just the space is infinite, so they can be walking forever in the same road or in the same stairs. That's the physical movement. But the emotional movement is because somebody just died. Because when somebody dies, you need to go through to a dwell period, to a like getting over, like a grief period. So that grief, I guess there's a lot of emotions moving in the grief. So that's why they move physically in the space and emotionally because somebody just died.
But so the two realities separate at that point. But in the one reality, the person is still alive.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other one, they're dead.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens to the person that's alive that's supposed to have died? So they don't get any energy?
No. The person who dies in the real world also.
Eventually, they die in the real world? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end of the incident, after they've made their choice of either, staying there or continuing on, do they just stay in the same reality as the incident, or do they join the reality they were once part of?
You mean
Like when he chooses to either to go into the elevator or to get into the police car.
yeah.
So do they join reality again, or do they remain in their reality?
No, they remain in this alternate universe,
In this,
because
like, pocket universe?
It's this alternate universe where they just like become somebody else who's gonna create another incident. So in the real world, it's only one person. Like Daniel is this boy who grew up and wants to study to be a policeman, and because you see in the alternate life sequence, right?
Yeah.
So he becomes a policeman, but then when he's like 40 something is when his alternate self in the incident starts getting stuck. So that's why he starts being unhappy in the real life, because he gets cheated by his wife and he kills a lover and he gets in jail. So it's in the real life it's only one person, but in the incident's life is where they move every 35 years to become another reality.
Okay, so I wrote it down. It is every 35 years.
Yeah.
And then they get the choice to escape, which they
Exactly.
always take it.
They always take it because it's like a cycle, right? And it's like a cycle they cannot break because they've been locked for 35 years. So if somebody would tell you, if you open this door, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, still you open it because you want to exit the place where you've been stuck,
So do you think everyone has their own kind of counterparts in another universe that's feeding them energy? Either positive energy, negative energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone has their own kind of incident at some point.
Yeah, exactly. We all have, even if we don't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what was I going to say? So recently especially in the Oscars, a lot of filmmakers from Mexico have been getting attention. But they've been doing films in English and with American actors.
Yes.
So do you think they're helping or hurting Mexican cinema?
I think they're helping a lot. I mean, there is this debate, and people said, like, when Cuarón won the Oscar for Gravity, and then this year Iñárritu, a lot of people say, like, that's not for Mexico. Those movies were American, with American actors, not Mexican money. That's not for Mexico. So we Mexicans like to party, and we want to celebrate and say, yes, we won. But it's not really us. It's an American. That's what people said. But on my personal opinion, when I hear those kind of comments, I think those are like haters who just want to complain about everything. But on my opinion, I think it is a triumph for Mexico that a Mexican director gets this recognition. Because although, okay, I agree, this is not a Mexican film, it was not funded with Mexican money, it was not filmed in Mexico. However, the image of the Mexicans, and especially of the Mexican filmmakers, it's a good image right now. I mean, you say you are a filmmaker, you're from Mexico, and people think, oh yeah, Cuarón, Del Toro, Iñárritu, So I think I think it helps Mexico a lot, just in terms of image.
Yeah.
And I mean, and not only the Oscars, but it's been going great for Mexican filmmaker recently. Like in Berlin, where it's like more artistic festival, we won 2 years in a row for best first feature film. In Cannes, we've won best director twice, also. And then the Oscars again. So it's also in the artistic industry.
So they're showing that the Mexican filmmakers and the cinema is a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now, do you think that they've won? They would any project they do, maybe they decide to finally do that one project they couldn't get funded before. That's an all Mexican cast, supplied by Mexican money.
I don't think
they'll
that
be
will
able
happen.
to do it now.
No, I don't think that will happen. I don't think
No.
that's going to be their contribution. I think their contribution is just in terms of image. The image we Mexicans have in the world, like we come from this country where this guy also came. That's but I believe that they are already integrated into this industry. So like I don't know what actually I don't know what they're doing right now. Oh well, Iñárritu's doing that film with DiCaprio, right? The film, the Western movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Cuarón is doing, but I wouldn't think that after this film they will come back to Mexico.
No, you don't think so?
I don't think that's gonna happen. No.
No.
But still, I believe they help.
Yeah.
They help because it helps in image to be from Mexico. Yeah.
So, writing the screenplay for this film, for El Incidente, how hard was it? I mean, just for the audience to watch, I'm sure they could easily miss something if they weren't paying attention. And you had to pay extra attention to detail, I'm sure.
And it's even harder when the lights go out and you have to explain the audience the ending verbally.
Also, the lights, so you weren't able to get it back up?
No, they were not able to see the last 10 minutes of the film. So imagine, it's a complex ending, right?
Yeah, that explains everything.
And it's like if you would be an audience and you're watching this film and you don't know what's going to happen, you would be pissed. You want to know what happened. But yeah, I had to explain everything. And it's a complex ending. So it was like, okay, so this happened. So this guy cuts his hair and he opens this red book. But then the other guy becomes this guy. And then you discover that he was the same guy from the stairs. And then there's these alternate life sequences. And they're like, what the fuck?
They're like, I don't get it.
I think they got it.
They got it? Good.
But yeah, well, to answer your question, it was indeed hard to write a screenplay. Because as a screenwriter, when you write a movie like this with these elements, you get yourself into trouble, right? Because there's alternate.
Yeah, easily, you can get yourself stuck.
Yeah, and in a loophole, but I think if you have everything clear in your mind, you can get it correctly. So I had very clear what I wanted and the rules behind everything and the theory behind everything, and I also tried to transmit this very clearly to my crew. So I think that's why we were able to pull it off. Yeah.
So do you think anybody else could have directed your project or just you?
Well, no, this screenplay, when I wrote it for me to be the director.
Just for you,
I think
yeah.
I had it really clear what I had in mind. I'm interested in the future in maybe directing scripts from someone else, but the things that I write, I know I write them for me. I mean, I could approach a story someone else wrote, but if I write something, I'm writing for me to direct it because I know I have very clear what I want to tell.
So your next project you're working on, you also wrote it?
Yes.
And you're directing it?
Yes.
Okay, and you say you're in post-production?
It's in post-production right now. Yeah, we actually shot it was a pretty crazy year, 2013, because we were able to make 3 movies in 1 year.
Really?
Well, it was The Incident we shot in October. Then on April 2014 we shot Mexico Bárbaro, which is a feature film made by 8 directors. So it's an anthology, kind of like ABCs of Death and this kind of anthology of many segments. So I only did 1 segment in Mexico Bárbaro. And then the film I shot, which is the one in post-production, is called The Similars. That's another feature film which I directed. That was shot in July and August. But I was developing that project even way before the incident. So it's like in the meantime when that happened, I made the incident. So The Similars is we finished shooting in August, but it's been a wild rush for post-production because we needed more money for post-production, for music and sound design and stuff like that. And also it came together with the festival tour of The Incident, which I will be very lucky to be in many prestigious festivals. We started in Cannes, went to Fantastic Fest, Busan, Sitges, and so that's why post-production for the other one has been delayed. On one reason, because of the money we need to fund, and also because I've been I'm here right now, yeah. So, but we're almost done. Luckily enough, the film is edited already, and the music is composed. Color correction, we got an award. They're gonna do it. So it should be finished by July or the end of June, and we're trying to premiere at an important film festival international, like at the end of the summer. We're not sure which one.
Like Toronto or something. I think it's happening late summer.
We have, yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the things we would
Yeah.
wish, but we're not sure where, and hopefully you'll be able to see it next year, maybe.
Yeah, if it's at Toronto, I'll be there.
Oh, okay, you go, okay. Do you go to Fantastic Fest also?
Sometimes whenever I can for, work.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll keep in touch, and
Yeah.
and I'll let you know where it's playing. Yeah.
So the similars, is that also dealing with kind of sci-fi, surrealist elements? Also?
Exactly. Yeah, it's also like I like this concept of mind-bending stories where you don't know what's happening, and every 10 minutes you are into what is this or is this kind of like have you seen Black Mirror, this kind of episodes?
Yes, I love Black Mirror.
I love Black Mirror in the way that like there's this episode, the white bear episode of the girl who is, they're chasing her and you don't know what's happening. So the similarities is even more like that, in a way that you don't know why what's happening is happening. It's also science fiction tale. It takes place in the 60s. It's also a homage to kind of like Twilight Zone. I think it's even more Twilight Zone-ish than The Incident, because it's in the 60s, it's a period piece, but it's also, The Incident was more philosophical, and I think the similars is more just like a genre film, like without many philosophical messages in question, right? So it's a story about 8 characters who are locked in a bus station and they cannot get out because of the rain. There's a huge thunderstorm, and the buses are not coming. So it's like this classic setup of characters locked by the rain, kind of like Identity with John Cusack. But then the twist is that suddenly something starts happening to their faces, that they start becoming similar to one of them, and they don't know why. So a huge paranoia starts invading them, like, why is this happening? And I won't tell you. Then that's the plot.
See, that's what I loved about your film, that you couldn't just guess where it was going. You had to go there all the way into the end, and then it finally made sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all about the journey.
Exactly. Well, that's the similars. It's also like that. It's like I think a good film, and that's why I love Nolan. I mean, Nolan is like a magician. A good film is like a magic trick. You don't know what's going to happen, and then you don't know how they did the trick, and then you realize the rest of the film was just the magician talking to you to make the trick, right?
Yeah, to distract you.
Exactly.
Up until the finale.
And that's why I love a movie like The Prestige, because it's Nolan making a magic trick about magicians, So in a certain way, I try to do that with The Incident, and the similars. It's also like that. Yeah.
It came off really well.
Oh, thank you.
If anything, there was this question. So they seem to exist in their own pocket universe, or kind of a different dimension, and all of the consumable items seem to be replenishing.
Yeah.
So I took it as there's a reset on it. Like up until a certain time, there's a reset. Am I right, or is it something else?
What do you mean, like a reset?
Like it's a 24 hours pass, and then the room resets to where it refills all of the stuff that's been used.
Well, yeah, but it's not really a reset, because the room, it's not like time goes back 24 hours.
No, yeah.
Because
if
they paint something in the wall, it's still there. So it's more like just things that they need to regenerate. So why is that? I guess, like we were telling, writing a story like this, you get into a lot of troubles with. However, I think the idea behind this is that we were saying that we don't know who did the incidents, right? So we don't know if it's God, if it's aliens, but whoever did them, they put these things that regenerate for a reason.
Or else they would die.
Yeah, what is the reason? Because they need the people to move physically and emotionally. So they give them what they need for their lives, but they don't regenerate themselves, their own bodies, because they need to move physically and emotionally. So that's why they give them, for example, food. That's what the vending machine regenerates. That's why they give them. Maybe when people ask me, how come the hamster didn't die? So maybe that's why, because they know he needs the hamster to be able to keep on living.
Yeah, that's part
happily.
of his.
And that's why they regenerate the gasoline for the van to be able to keep moving. However, why does the gun doesn't regenerate? Because maybe if you would have 100 guns, it's easily to kill yourself than only with one, So it's very convenient. They only regenerate what they need to keep on living,
survive, but
not what they could affect their lives,
to kill you, yeah.
Because when the guy is putting the gun in his mouth, you know what's gonna happen. But if he would shoot himself, maybe it would be the end of the world, because it's like
It breaks the cycle.
it breaks the cycle. Yeah, exactly.